And we're doing it, everybody. Hello, hello. We're live with the Designers Den, like actually live this week. Like Rich is there, and I'm here, and it's just happening right now. Yes, I know, George. Our live. But anyways, welcome to the Designers Den. It's fall, and so we've been busy, but super excited today to have Rich. No, kidding. Let's not add a bunch of vowels in there. Yes, but Rich on the show today, who's found some time in his schedule as well. And Rich has done a shit ton of stuff. Rich, do you have like an elevator pitch?
Um, you didn't tell me this was live. I think I'll lead with that one. No.
It's in the email I send to everybody. Okay, just so my viewers know.
I might have skimmed through it. You're the editor, not me. I mean,
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, what do you do? Who are you? What do you do? Why are you there?
I am a writer, game designer. I am a managing partner of Alligator Alley Entertainment. We produce a game called Epigenesis, which is the comprehensive sci-fi rule system for 5th edition. I also do a lot of freelance adventure writing and mostly layout work.
I was gonna say, and layout design.
Yeah, I was.
Rich is
the
layout guy. He's the layout guy.
Yes, I do layout for pretty much maybe 80% of Adventurers League adventures now, and a few layout projects for other companies that I cannot mention right now because I'm working for them and I'm not done. So there we go.
And sometimes stuff for Alan when he guilts you and it's like, Rich, I have a project. I have a project.
I still owe him a project, and he owes me a project.
I can tell that he does, as there's a stack of Epigenesis books on his desk as a daily reminder.
So he does the same thing I do.
Yeah, I also have a bunch of books within reach for no particular reason. Speaking of one that. What? It is D&D.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, that is
But I digress. We're not talking really about this. We're talking about something equally awesome. We're gonna talk about something Rich did. For anybody who hasn't gotten their hands on it, Rich's latest release has been a long time in the making. But it has been worth the wait. And that would be the Master Technician's Guide for Epigenesis. What the fuck is a Master Technician's Guide, you ask, as you're like, is this a player's handbook, a monster manual, a dungeon master's guide? It's kind of like a dungeon master's guide. In that it's got all those extra bits and pieces that you, as the dungeon master, or in this master, if you want, storyteller.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say dungeon master.
Yeah, storyteller, overseer, table runner. You choose. You can't put the word. But anyways, you as the game master, can add to your core for Esprit Genesis even more badass. You can make your own ships. You can have even fancier weapons, fancy upgrade capabilities. You can run even more chase mechanics. You can design addition like character types. It gives the GM, like, it's like a toolbox for GMs.
My goodness, Jenny, you sure know a lot about this book. I wonder how you know so much.
I mean, I'm gonna spoiler alert, everyone who hasn't opened it to the credits page. I do know a lot about this book, so I didn't have to prepare for this show as in depth as I normally do. I spent a lot of time editing about 80% of the book. So I say, with absolutely no hint of bias here, buy it. It's great. But yeah, Rich, Master Technician Guide. Well, I would ask what inspired it, but it was the thing that you had envisioned from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's all part of the system. It is good. It is a good book now because before it was just pieces of a lot of jibber jabber and you know word salad that I threw at Ginny and then came back and it looks nice now. But anyway, it is the third out of a trilogy of books. We wanted to do the the classic D&D method where we have a player's book and a monster book, but we wanted to do something different with the
Yes.
technician's guide because it is fantasy. Unlike fantasy, sci-fi has just so many different branches of so many different branches, so many different themes. It's never really the same thing. So what we did with the technician's guide was we said, okay, well, we gave you kind of a rough sci-fi setting and a universe, and here's a galaxy, and here's how to use ships, and here's some threats and all that stuff. What's your favorite sci-fi? Whatever it is, this book can help you create it. We wanted to basically give everybody the tools so they can make
Mass Effect,
anything.
The
Star Trek, Mass
Expanse,
Effect, yeah.
Star Wars. No, not that
any
really.
actually more Star Wars than The Expanse, really, probably.
Yeah.
It leans easier towards space opera and like cyberpunk, and you can actually you can tweak it for steampunk, and you can do some hard sci-fi with it, modern setting. But we made it like a kind of like an open source for creating your favorite modern sci-fi game using the Epigenesis rules. That was the main goal of it. So unlike the fantasy versions of most books, like the Game Master, they'll kind of like, here's how to build a world, and here's how to tell a story. We just front loaded it. We were like, no, here are the ships, here's your cybernetics, here's the matrix, here's all the technical stuff that makes sci-fi cool. And then in the back would be like, here's how you create a galaxy with aliens and stuff like that. Use your imagination, go. And that's kind of how we put that book together.
Yeah, I mean, and Esprit Genesis in general, as you're talking about how like it's not a particular sci-fi setting. I think, um, I think the testimonial quote that you have on the core manual page is still probably my favorite explanation. It's not a game that wants to be your property, of game that embraces sci-fi's adventures guide. Sci-fi, room for excitement and wonder. 5e provides excellent match for this, since Esprit Genesis' relationship to sci-fi is much like 5e's relationship to fantasy, in that it's part of the landscape, but the first priority is to play a game. And now those words weren't mine. I wish I could take credit for that, but that was Rob Donahue of Evil Hat Productions. And yeah, it's there to let you do your sci-fi things, and it does that really well. And it has beautiful artwork, and the Master Technician's Guide is no no exception to that. You've even got some beautiful 2-page spreads because it was just too great to make it. That's the only reason to make a 2-page spread of art, in my opinion. It's like, I could have made it
kind of right.
Could have made it smaller, but like, no.
Yeah, we looked at some of the art and we were like, how do you see the detail about we can't show the detail. Let's just spread it across the whole thing. And that's actually how half of those came about. The art was nice, and people like to see detail in sci-fi stuff. People like to see the mechanics, the tech stuff, and all that stuff. And we're like, just make it as big as possible without getting in the way of the words, and
without putting poster handouts in the back. All right, done.
Yeah, we didn't go that far. We just made it
no.
look nice. It's still very clean and very 5e. That's what most of the goals. The goal we had when we were creating the Epigenesis books from the start was for somebody to open the book and say, like, this isn't a D&D book. It's obviously not a D&D book, but they can open the book and go, oh, this is a 5e book.
Right.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at how everything is laid out and how everything is, and I understand what's going on and where everything's supposed to be. We didn't want a big learning curve.
And you really, the general 5e like style as far as like formatting, like it is pretty much like that, in that, like, got the same general format of head layout. That's the word. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Same layout.
It's
So like
same layout.
if you're doing 5e and you pick it up, you don't have to worry like about like, all right, this is an inline subheading. What does that mean in this game? No, it means the same. If you know what an inline subheading is. If you don't, then that's fine. Don't worry about it.
You know what it is, just know what it's called. That's all.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to that question in a second about organized play, because that's a very important. But Master Technician's Guide fits the world of Esprit Genesis by basically opening it up and expanding.
Mhm.
And it's been 5 years now since you released core book.
The core book, the core book we released in 2018. So that was 3 years. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago we released the core book. We released the basic rules, which was kind of like our free.
But it's time.
Yeah. Well, I don't count last year. That's like a mulligan for pretty much everybody.
I don't know why. I don't know why I had in my head that I got the core book signed by you and Brian at Origins 2017, and you were supposed to run a game, and your flight got delayed, so Brian had to run the game and was not prepared, but he did a wonderful job.
That's because the debate, the free basic rules and the introductory adventure were already written before we had the core book out. So
yeah.
So that's what you got to play.
It was wonderful, and every game since that first, and played more and more of it at convention, because it fits right into my I'm going to this convention and related things. But as our friend here in chat, Dar Jr., wants to know a little bit about organized play. So Esprit Genesis has a fairly robust organized play system in that you have a plan, you have things published, you've got a name for it. That's
that's as far as it is, right now. Yeah, it's called the Crucible Core, and we do have a sign up page for it. We do have a membership page, so anybody that signs up does get a Crucible Core ID number. We started actually with conventions, I think Origins and Gen Con, we were running for a couple of years, and then last year there wasn't very much Crucible Core going on because there were no conventions.
Yeah.
That we actually went to. So if you hadn't heard about it, it's because it kind of disappeared up until now. But yes, we do have an organized play. All of the official Epigenesis adventures that have been released, there are 13 of them right now. All of them are licensed for use with Crucible Core. So if you want to bring those to convention and with your, make an announcement, hey, I'm running a game, and then you could do the same thing as Adventurers League does. Obviously, since we're on our first season, our book, or should I say our guide for Crucible Core is very thin. There isn't a lot developed yet. We had it in beta for the first year. What we want to do with the new season coming up, and that's going to go into all the new stuff that we're planning on doing, is we're doing kind of I'm gonna call it a living galaxy sort of thing, even though it's not pushing that name out there. It has a lot of connotation to when you put living something on anything nowadays.
Oh, is it? Yes. And for anyone who hasn't done any Crucible Core, I just dropped the link. First adventure, Fall of the
Eos Keldor.
Eos. Okay, I was like, how do I say the E? Is it an E or is it an eh? All right. Which has inside of it the Crucible Core, organized place information about that. But you can get more information about that on the Epigenesis website, which is also linked to that product page. 8 links. But yeah. So it's anyone can go out there and run it. And you should do that. If you're into running, things other people have written, much like, Adventures League stuff, though, there is, a bit of flexibility to it. There is DM empowerment, of course. And, I found that the adventures so far that have been put out have been good. And you've got a pretty good stable of authors that have worked for you so far. Next question is, how does the new book play into your future plans for the campaign? Where's your campaign going?
It took a lot longer to get this last book out than anticipated. We had a lot of things going on, pandemic wise.
And then
We unfortunately, Brian, my business partner and one of my best friends, he had passed away in March. So that obviously had put
an impact,
yeah, very, very rough one. So it was kind of hard to look at the work for a while. But yeah, we got through it and finished it, and now it's out, and now we want to do things. We didn't really want to go full steam ahead until we had all of the rules out. So now that everybody can do everything, we want to get going with like more adventure content, more setting content. We are starting the second season of Crucible Core, which is going to contain that element that we had planned originally, where we kind of have all the people that are playing to take surveys and fill out the forms on the website, send them back to us so that we know important events that happen during certain times when the adventures are being run at conventions, and we're going to compile those and sort of create like a timeline that's going to affect the next adventures in the next seasons. So the decisions that the players make during those convention adventures are going to affect characters and events that happen later on. That's the primary goal for that.
And that's part of the living bit, in that,
mm-hmm.
your actions, maybe not like you specifically as a player, but like your overall actions, like as play groups out there doing this, like you impact the future of the campaign. Assuming you do the survey. If you didn't do the survey, nobody knows what you did. Okay.
Yep.
So very important step.
But hey, it's okay if you have fun too.
Yes.
I should also mention that this month, Esprit Genesis is launching on Shard Tabletop. And if you're interested in running online anywhere else, we also have the first 3 adventures of season 1 and the 2 intro adventures and the system itself on Roll20. So all of that's available.
And if you get the Character Mancer up, last time I looked, you didn't, but then I haven't looked.
It was supposed to be out in April. It looks like they had some kinks, but
it's in the works.
In a way,
it's in the works.
Yeah, it's
everybody.
in the works. It's in the works. It's coming really soon. In a way, I'm kind of happy that it's taking a little longer, because I just threw a crap ton of rules at them. So
I got you.
Look, there's all this stuff.
I got you a present, Roll20. Thank you.
Yeah, here's all this new stuff for you to add. That's great. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought, because the next is a new.
Oh, all right. But I'm already seeing. This is what happens when we do things late. I don't even know what the last question was.
Future campaign plans. So people
what the hell, Jenny?
People doing the surveys affect the campaign, and you've got plans to continue that. So you're putting out season 3 next. And what you do in season 3, put in this 2. I thought you did. Math is not my. That's not true, actually. But numbers.
I'm aware, but you can go with it.
But yeah, so as each new season out, everyone has the ability to bring new players in, bring new ideas, and, do the cool things. Use all of the rules, use all of the options, and like go bananas in space, okay?
Yeah,
And then make Rich deal with it.
you didn't need to add that last part. That's not fair.
That's what answering the survey is. Making
This is
Rich
true.
deal with it.
Oh, you're talking. This is true because I'm probably going to be the person that ends up dealing with it. This is
Yeah, you are by default the narrative story lead.
Yeah.
You're not.
P.S. If you do want, if anybody does want to just create stuff or talk about stuff or ask questions or whatever, there's tons of people that let me deal with whatever they have on Facebook and on Discord and on on those Esprit Genesis pages that we have there. So
yeah, and the Epigenesis page on Facebook is very active. Great place to be if you're trying to get into the community. There's Twitter as well, but Twitter is Twitter. The Discord, I'm on the Discord, pretty sure, but most like every server, I've muted it because there's a lot of Discord.
I'm on too many Discord pages.
Yeah.
Too many.
So with conventions, when conventions starting to try and come back, do you have any plans to attend any in the near term? I know that I know one that you're gonna get. I don't know if you're bringing official capacity.
We are going to be at GameholeCon.
Yes.
This year. I don't have any games on the board right now. But actually, what really happens is any convention where Baldwin Games is running. Baldwin actually runs Epigenesis games wherever
Yes.
he is. Just we haven't been able to connect with him in that capacity in about a year now. So
yeah. So no Epigenesis Crucible Core at the upcoming Gen Con and Origins or online components this year because there was a lot of moving pieces going on. But Winter Fantasy, which everyone should come to anyways. This is like my fourth. I'm like, just come to Winter Fantasy. It's cheap. But it's true. But it's true. Yeah, if you really want to get into Esprit, actually though, that probably is the best. Because there's a lot like percentage-wise of the convention dedicated to it. And you have Rich and generally the rest of the Alligator Alley team there because again, it's cheap. So we can get everyone from Florida up to Indiana in the middle of the winter just to give them a little climate shock. Although you're from Jersey.
Okay,
yeah, I was like, you're from Jersey, New York or something. You're used to it. But yeah. And Alan, I absolutely think that you should dive into this. I don't know what science fantasy setting project you're working on, but I'm sure it will be helpful. Follow up to that on Rich. Do you have an OGL for us? Not yet.
I get that question a lot. The answer is not yet. We didn't want to make an OGL until about 2 weeks ago when we came out with the Technician's Guide. we didn't want to create an OGL or SRD for an incomplete set of rules. So now that that's out, yes, that is absolutely in the work. It is planned. We actually want to, we want to throw this at everybody so that if they want to create their own stories, adventures, their stuff for the galaxy, they can do that. So that's on the list.
Yeah, and kind of
on the list of things.
Kind of a follow up to that a little. Our junior plans. So a little bit going beyond just an OGL, but like some way to onboard people in the system. Not yet, probably, but
yeah, but we are actually working on that. Actually, I was having a conversation about opening up a community content program for Esprit Genesis. So yes, that is actually coming probably sooner than the OGL. So that's
yeah. But in the meantime,
I do. I do. Actually, I'm going to throw out. I only mentioned it on one other podcast because I haven't really officially announced it yet. But
we're doing it live.
We're doing it live. We'll do it live. Where did that come from? Was that like a?
I don't know where it came from, but I quote it all the time. If
I think it comes from
fuck it,
some
we're doing
douchebag.
it live.
We're doing it live.
I think it was a Saturday Night Live. I don't know. Who knows? If anybody in the audience knows the answer, feel free to enlighten. Vote things.
I actually think it was like Bill O'Reilly.
I don't know.
That's kind of scary. I don't know. But anyway.
But yes, so
completely off topic. One of the in addition to the season 2 of Crucible Core, what we want to do is we want to introduce more people that are already accustomed to D&D into Esprit Genesis. So in a few weeks, maybe about a month or so, once we get all of our ducks in a row, we're going to be announcing a big adventure project that is an adventure path starting with an Esprit Genesis adventure, and it leads into a D&D like kind of fantasy adventure, and then it combines the two into like a big, sci fantasy sort of epic. So that you're laughing, and this is kind of scaring me.
I'm laughing because I just glanced to the side several times. It's been me looking at the project board, being like, "What am I going on here? Do I have time for this?"
You better.
Well, I was worried at first, and then you're like adventure path, and I'm like, oh yeah, we could squeeze.
Yeah, take a little while, but yeah, it's for players that are really into D&D, know D&D, to kind of get their science fiction game in and play a fantasy element where they can still play
without having to learn
barbarians and bards and stuff like that. Yeah, and there's it kind of breezes into everything you need to learn about Esprit Genesis while you're playing the fantasy element of 5e.
Yeah,
and then you can meld it together and have your dwarven laser axe wielding barbarian or that
and you don't have to go learn a whole. So for the adventure path, the question was: is it a single volume or a subscription? By which I assume you mean series. And it's a series, right?
No, it's gonna be a big adventure single volume that we're gonna be launching. We're gonna be launching a Kickstarter for.
We're doing a book.
We're doing a book.
Yeah. Oh, apparently it was Bill O'Reilly. You're right.
I don't know these things. So I said some douchebag. So.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah,
not a man I would want to imitate in any other circumstance whatsoever.
But I can empathize with his the explanation here. An outtake from Inside Edition popularized Bill O'Reilly shouts, "Fuck it, we'll do it live," after becoming frustrated by a last-minute alteration to the teleprompter text. Yeah, I feel you, man. Are we still changing things?
I'm just gonna go with the flow.
I've already read the adventure for this con premiere, and you've handed me 3 new editions since then. So that was not a dig on Rich, by the way. That was just a dig.
No. Actually, that's in general. We've both been in this picture and we don't like it. We know how it goes. So.
Yeah. But it's in summary of this last over many minutes, 30 minutes of conversation, like there is a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon still for Esprit Genesis, especially now the Master Technique Guide is out and the trilogy there, the core trilogy, is complete. No Gamehole Con premiere adventure, absolutely not. That's really soon. Calm down, sir.
At Winter Fantasy, usually all of us are there. We run not only the release stuff, we have author only stuff that we're coming out with. Depending on how many people want to get together, I might actually try and run a multi-table game for probably the first multi-table game for Esprit Genesis. That would be pretty cool.
All right, tell your friends, bring them. We're doing it. We just got to get enough people. So, again, they can. I mean, if they can get the time off, they can afford to come. It's fine. We're going to start advertising it now. Epigenesis multi-table. We call it. I don't think they trademark.
We can call it I guess do you call it an epic? I haven't made a name. I haven't made a name for it yet, so I guess we can call it an epic.
Is it an epic? Is it a special? Is it a saga? Who knows?
Ooh, a saga. No, that sounds long. That sounds really long.
Yeah, but so does epic. When I think epic, I think like Homer's epic. And like,
yeah.
I don't know anybody who's. Yeah, we've got 2 votes for saga.
Oh, okay. Shoot, I gotta put up a poll.
We'll do a slightly more official, unofficial Twitter poll later. To come in the future. But yeah, so you do a lot of Epigenesis, but as we kind of alluded at the beginning, you do a lot of other stuff. So, how do you? Let's start with the. How do you find time
to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
I try not to pay attention to that because I might make myself sad.
Yeah.
if I do that. No. This is my this is actually my job for the most part. Well,
right.
Epigenesis has been kind of a painful labor of love for the past few years because we honestly didn't even make enough originally with the original Kickstarter to put out the first book, which we weren't really aware cost-wise. So it's been a very interesting journey to put all this together. But aside from all that, my layout work.
Let me make you feel better about it, though. At least you weren't trying to put it out this year. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
The supply chain has gone.
Oh yeah, so that's why if I want to make myself sad again, I think about answering the question of, well, when are the print copies coming?
You'll get them when you get them, okay?
yeah, it'll happen when it happens. But we're trying.
Yeah, and that's not a problem exclusive to an Epigenesis. For anybody who's not like been following the saga of like, it's not even just the tabletop industry anymore. It's the whole toys industry. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually shared an article today. Ravensburger, who don't know them, they do a bunch of board games, but they also make a massive amount of puzzles. They've just been like, we're not taking any new orders. We have so much backlog that we can't get delivered to us to deliver to people. We're just gonna like call it a good business decision to like, no more orders, thank you. And it is a good business decision. They're like the first one to go out there and do that, but I fully expect to see other people doing it because the cost of a container from China has gone from like $3,000 to $35,000. 35,000.
Speaking of which, so one of the other products that we actually put out is another adventure trilogy and collection called Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. P.S. It would go very well with your Candlekeep Mysteries if you're into that sort of thing. And it's really cool adventures written by Gregory Wilson, and we have a ton of designers that contributed strange and mysterious books to find in the library. Gee, I wonder how you knew about that too.
I wrote a book or two. I don't remember. But I wrote at least a book on that one. And in addition to it, I kickstarted it at a ridiculously high dollar amount to get some artwork in it.
Which is very pretty, by the way. The artwork's nice.
I haven't seen it. I have the digital version. I just haven't looked.
Yeah, we released a digital version probably close to a year ago, and it took us that long just to get everything, situated. And then by the time the print copies ended up in the where did it go? Some harbor up north, and it just sat there for 4 months. We couldn't get it.
That's what boats are
And
doing right now.
yeah, they're just sitting there, and we couldn't get it. It took us forever to get that that sort of thing. But yes, as far as the time is concerned, like that's what I do. The layout work and the writing work, all of that stuff, all the freelance work, that's kind of my career right now. So otherwise, if I had a regular job, I wouldn't have the time to do to do any of this stuff. Because it takes a lot of time and effort. I
Yeah.
can say there's another project I'm working on that I guess I should mention. EN Publishing, because now it's been announced and it's coming out. They're doing the advanced 5e, so the level up Kickstarter,
Yes.
and I am working on that. I had myself and a couple of really cool designers had put together all the feats for that. So we're really excited to see.
That's kind of like your jam, though,
Yeah.
like advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry, let me not advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but like because you
I am
like
that old,
yes,
so it's fine.
yes, but you like to take like the classic things and like your ancestral weapon, that like okay, so here's a nice standard, like what if like we want to get to where we're super powered, we're heroes, realms throughout, but we just topped out at legendary? No, no, that's silly. So,
You need to go better.
going above and beyond the published levels, like that's something that, and you have a but very well. Like it is not easy to balance high level content.
No, it's not.
And
Probably 5e. Well, the it, putting the the A5e aside, well, doing Esprit Genesis was kind of a whole different thing. It's literally the opposite of that, because we had to figure out how to do all that with all of the epic and high level stuff, and still keep it simple. That's the one promise that we made when we started designing this for 5e, was that we didn't want to make this super complicated or add a whole bunch of extra systems.
and I'm really glad that I can count on Alan to hide the content I had in my head of there is no balance to high level content.
Of course there is. It's
Eh,
called the GM.
and that's true. Yeah. And non 5e stuff, you also contributed to Star Trek Adventures if you want more space stuff. I picked it up recently at my local gaming store and was like, I don't need to buy this. Alan, you have this book, right? And he's like, yeah, I have this book. I'm like, do we need 2 copies of this book also? No, not today. Probably in the future we will have 2 copies of this book. But not today. But yeah, and like you said, you freelance constantly. It's kind of it's kind of hard actually to quantify how much work Rich does currently for the industry, because so many of your credits go kind of under the radar.
Yeah, that's the well. Hey, I
That
get paid, right? So that's the important part.
that is the
I have to pay my
downside
mortgage.
of doing the behind the scenes work, editing, layout, narrative. Narrative kind of gets you. I should hope that the writer's credit done some narrative, but that's not always the case. But yeah. If we were to add a layout space on Drive Through RPG and the DM's Guild, Rich would suddenly have hundreds of additional credits.
A lot. I'll say a lot. Has it reached hundreds? It might. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I lost count.
It has, and I'm just counting. I've just been counting like the adventures stuff up in my head, and I'm like, that easily broken 100. And we're well toward 200, and then you've done a bunch of you know, non-official AL stuff, and then you've done other systems. So yeah, easily into at least 200 hundreds.
So
It's more
I
than
am going. I would love to take credit, by the way, for participating in Star Trek Adventures, but I did not. I actually it was the Expanse art. It was the Expanse
Oh
RP.
gosh, goodness gracious. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, that's true.
I do love Star Trek though.
I had one in each hand, and I was debating which one to get, and the answer was I own them both. Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's how it usually works for me.
They're both space. Your name should be in. But I mean that's also a brilliant team. Sorry.
Yes.
Rich works on all of the science stuff. You just don't know it.
I like sci-fi stuff.
Yes.
I wish I worked on all the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. So, yes. So, deep and abiding love for science fiction side. When you have the time to go out and like your own project, the main. How do you decide like what you're gonna do? Where do you get your design ideas from? What's your general inspiration?
Well, this is kind of where I get a little old persony about this and say that because I've been running games for
Years.
decades. It's decades now.
It's okay.
It's decades now. Anyway, but I am I like
honor now.
I like mashing ideas together. It's always been my thing. So whenever we run campaigns, I always think of story threads whenever I'm running a game and stuff happens, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to do something like this now, where something suddenly happens. I'll write it down, and maybe I'll get back to it in about 3-4 years, but it'll be there. It'll be sitting in a notebook, or it'll be sitting in a file, or something like that. And I'm like, I open it up, and like, oh, I got to do this, and then I'll take that idea and reach out for whatever favorite TV show I saw, or movie that I saw, or book that I'm reading from book series I'm reading, and I say, hey, I can take that concept, apply it to this thing that I wrote down, and that's kind of where all of my stories come from. Because that's it's an idea farm. Running and playing in adventures, if you really just sort of let your imagination go wild while things are happening, you don't have to actually be in the moment with it, but you can put it down for reference, and it can make something really cool later on. That's kind of how I operate.
And I think honestly, like you're saying this like it's a a thing that everyone does. This is not actually an answer that I get very often. Like most people are like, oh, pop culture or just I don't know, character or whatnot. But like honestly, as someone else who does like tons and tons of convention organized play, there is no better treasure trove of ideas than other players. Like they do something and your DM's like, God, that's dumb, and you're like, no, it's brilliant. Go on, tell me more.
Yep. So they're scribbling it down in your scrapbook. No, this is good.
You're like, if I were DMing right now, I would also be your, but we could put this in another game. This is great.
It doesn't get duplicated or anything. It just gets
no, you gotta write
compiled into other things, and
it's because
inspiration.
Because
yes.
Lord knows I'm never gonna remember what somebody did at a convention like play by play. I can't steal steal your idea like word for word because I can't remember it.
That's what the surveys are for, that we have to deal with. Tell me what you did.
But I think though that for as you're bashfully saying decades, which is a good thing. It's a positive. Like it's fine that you've been in the industry for this long. That's a badge of honor nowadays. Kids these days are like, you do D&D?
Yeah, well, that's true.
The world is so much different. But, all of that experience definitely like shines through in like all of the work you do, because you churn out ideas, you churn out games, you lay out like so fast, honestly. Like, all right, I get it. Layout takes time, and yes, it takes time. Let's not sit here and be like, Rich can turn around an adventure in 24 hours, because let's not be
No.
unreasonable.
Although some people seem to think so, but no.
Those people can take a long hike off a short plank. But you do turn your work around very quickly, especially like the level of quality. And for everyone who hasn't edited for Rich, he skips the first step and just writes it in InDesign. So let's just say efficiency. Which I know some of you out there are like, oh, the horror. But like, it's important for everyone to have a system that works for them. And I can edit a PDF just as well as I can edit anything else. Yes, Alan, you also write directly into InDesign. Alan Tucker does. You two are indeed brothers from another mother, as he says there. No, but at least dear friends that you didn't realize. But all of that, the influences your design, as you say, because like as we got earlier, you can't balance high levels. You're like, seen enough high level games that I can think of a lot of the shenanigans that happen versus me, and I'm like, I'd like to never DM a high level game if that's okay, thanks. Because I know that everybody is going to try to do the bullshit that I would try to do.
I will tell you one good secret to running a high level game. And
I actually run
that's one tactic.
I run a fair number of them.
Really, really high level characters have a lot of numbers and a lot of gear and a lot of abilities and a lot of things that they are prepared to take on. And the secret to running a high level game is give them almost nothing with numbers. If they do not understand what they are facing, high level characters are scared to death.
Right.
Because they always think you're just going to auto slay them.
We go back to the tried and true. If you stat it, especially in 5th edition, they will try to kill it.
Yep.
What we ran into in earlier editions, don't stat your deities. All of a sudden, you have made them mortal. They are very much mortal after you stat them. So I think that's the point, and goes into a lot of the advice I get from where I have the entire library, and therefore I know all of the things of like, make it about the story. If they want to do a cool thing, do they even need to fight anybody? No.
Most of the time.
No. Oh, he's chiming in right now. High level threats don't need stats. Thanks for joining the party. But I think that's balancing things is it's a common I don't know, pitfall designers fall into. Like, you want to be like, all right, I'm gonna give them the biggest, baddest monster. It's gonna die in two turns or less.
Yeah.
And then who's gonna be happy? Maybe that one person who did all the damage.
You kind of have to, when you're running a game, you have to set it up no matter what, even for high level adventures, but you got to do it for the low levels too. It's setting it up for, this is the way you run, and this is the way that everything is going to be run, from here on out, because that way they get used to not having to pay attention to their sheet. Not everything's a crunch. Not everything's going to be, what stats does this have? What stats does half have? It's more of, what's going to happen next? And what do I think I can do about it?
Yeah. It can be still a world-ending cataclysm type campaign, but like, that doesn't mean that you need to face down with a statted Tiamat example.
No.
It can just be a more nebulous, like, all of the dragons are coming back unless you figure out a way to which one. Think about.
Yeah,
God, this is very challenging. This is very challenging.
Can I roll a d20? No, you can't.
You gotta put your heads together, come up with something. And I think that really is, where the plot of it, and where like so much of your content like really shines, is that you great pains to kind of emphasize that like it's not. I mean, sure, here's 40 ways to make a badass spaceship, but it's
Yeah.
not all gonna be about like that one space battle. Like that you need to have the intrigue, you need story, have reasons. Like, why are we going and doing this? Like, why does any matter? Because without all of that, I mean, we're just playing Yahtzee.
Yeah, I've had those conversations where the so many people well, why isn't this special type of like firing mechanism, weapon, whatever, why isn't this in your game? And I'm like, it is there. You just got to use your imagination.
Yeah.
It's like the game was made to create anything that you want to create with your imagination. I don't have to put it there. The spaceships, that just how you brought up that example. It's yes, here's how to make any ship of any size to use in any sci-fi game. What's the ship? I don't know. What does it look like? I don't care. That's your job. That's
it's just a big flying opera hall, everybody.
Yeah.
It looks like a warship, but it's not. It's a music.
It could be that. It could be that. It's a gigantic flying concert hall. Thank you. See?
Secret.
Now it's gonna show up in some adventure. It's gonna be like Space Concert Hall.
Yeah.
It's there.
The real secret there, the twist, is that it's the music that's enthralling everybody, and it's the people inside that are gonna bring low the world.
Now we're going into Macross territory. That's another anime that actually inspired some of my game. But anyway.
Yeah. But point there is that like, there's a lot of ways to do things, and as Alan's chimed in here, like working with on the medium level epic Hellfire Requiem, which was season 9, if everyone missed that, was a treat. Because you had such great insight on new things to address outside of stats and expectations. Like, why allow your players to come into expectations only me? Like,
yeah,
it's an epic. Like, if there's not a time to be like, here's a box, right? And we're gonna pretend we're James and Tricasso, and we're just gonna throw the box away. Don't believe in them. Do it.
James DeCastro and I have had many conversations about the box. No, I actually on Hellfire Record. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I like boxes. There's a box around me right now. There's a box around Rich. We could do some box text, short box text. Not doing.
I like medium-sized box text. It depends on where you are, but that's a discussion for another time. Intro box text, kind of booky sort of thing. No, I was going to mention, working. I have to commend Alan for being able to work with me when we were writing that, because I was like practically sick on my deathbed when we were doing that. So
he works sick on his. He's used to like he's done sick on his deathbed. Like he's familiar with that.
I was concept. Like word salading ideas at him. Here's some stuff. Hopefully you can do something with this.
And we'll go with the quote for the night, everybody, from Alan here. Box text is like boxed wine. Got a place. After too much, it's just college. And we only need to do that once.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, quote of the night, we're gonna come back to this unofficial vote for what we're gonna call the multi-table event. Because
this only happens with you. How does it happen?
because I agree, super epic, awesome multi-table adventure is too long for a banner or spot on. But that is actually the end of the hour, Rich. We've been here an hour.
Already?
I told you were gonna say that. I told him he was gonna.
Yeah,
So
that's why I said it.
I know, right? Already? Oh goodness, everybody.
We'll do it live. Wait, did we do that already? We did that already, right?
We did that already. We did that. So for folks don't know where to find you, what's the best place to find you, chat with you online again for people who missed that summary in the middle of the show? And more importantly, what are you working on that you want people to be excited about, and where can they come play games with you? Back to that.
Well, you can come play games with me. Well, I am going to be at GameholeCon. I will be
Play games
Sorry,
with Rich, not play games by Rich.
Yes, play games with me. I actually have an event at GameholeCon. I have a Build a Galaxy for 5th edition, Build a Sci-Fi Galaxy for 5th edition. So if you want to sign up for that,
Are we doing?
that's
I can't remember.
yes, we are, Jenny. Yes, we are.
We're doing it. As a matter of fact, we'll be doing it live.
We're doing that live. Yes. Otherwise, we'll just be like heads with like laptops, just kind of like Max Headroom. People walking and be like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah. Anyways, I've been interrupted. They can find you at GameholeCon, and
I am at Skydon1, SKYDAWN, the number 1 on Twitter. You can contact me through the Epigenesis website, although that'll probably go to like the admin email. I am on Facebook. Join the Epigenesis Facebook page. I am on Discord. I don't remember my Discord number, but if you go to the Epigenesis page there, and you can
the Esprit Genesis page has the link to the Esprit Genesis Discord.
Discord, that's correct.
All right, you'll get there.
That's correct. You'll get there. Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. Actually, it happens to all be on the website too. So there you go.
All right.
So
now I feel like I need to
find me all of the ways.
All right. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. And for letting me work on this book. This was great. This is fun. The whole. So looking forward to doing more in the future and having you on again. When we get the next book done, we'll talk more about it. And I guess probably once you get that Crucible Core stuff straightened out in the OGL, we'll have to talk about that because we've got a lot of interest.
But, it'll be there.
But yeah, so as always, everybody, you can find me on the internet at Jenny Loveday. It's right below my face if you've forgotten how to spell it, much like below his face.
I can't see it.
I know.
There's nothing here.
I know. You can my website is apparently not as comprehensive as Rich's, but you can find most of my stuff on my website as well. You can find my brand new newsletter on Twitter, actually. Right, literally in the button to subscribe to it, which is so cool. Marveling it. But I've got a great slate of guests lined up. If I can find my calendar, I'll tell you who I have coming up. Actually, old-fashioned here. Next week, coming to you from the past, as I won't be present at my desk, we're gonna have a pre-recorded one with Matt Sanders, much about some indie RPGs. The week after that, we'll be talking to Biba of the Wild River game setting and system. The week after that, we are going to be talking the folks at Darkfell Studio about their upcoming Kickstarter, which launches soon. I don't want to lie and tell you which day, but I'm pretty sure it's this coming week. Then we're going to talk to David Hartledge, Jack Lewis, Casper and Martin Kanstrup, Miss Smithson, and a bunch of other people who have confirmed and not made it onto my list yet. And then I am scheduling out for November and December. We'll get some on here and got some more stuff up. And yeah, it'll be great. So, that's gonna be it though for tonight's episode of the Design.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.